Blessings and welcome. I am Tuesday May Thomas, and this is your weekly tarot energy forecast for July 17th to July 24th of 2017. I use the Osho Zen Tarot, and we're going to get started here in a moment. I did want to say thank you so much. My subscribership is going up, so thank you everyone for subscribing, for checking in. I love sharing these videos. I love sharing meditation videos. I have a Reiki playlist and all sorts of other goodies on this YouTube channel, so please do stick around, have a look, subscribe if you're not a subscriber yet, share if you know friends who you think would be served by the messages here on this channel, and I thank you so very much. So let's go ahead and start shuffling the cards. Let's get started. I call in all the highest love and light of this universe through all time and space. May we call in our angels, our guides, those beloved ones that have passed that perhaps are still in the between zone. Okay, we just had a handful of cards fall out, so we're going to work with them. Okay. I guess those angels and those guides were ready to go. They were ready to get us moving. So it looks like what this reading is wanting us to do is to review where we've been and move forward from there. We have the laziness card, and this came up a few weeks back. I will put a link up here for you to view it. And this card really, really deeply represents us being lazy, us knowing in life where it is we get to make changes so that the change we wish to see and experience in our life comes about with ease and with grace. And it speaks to the aspect of when you know the changes that should be taking place in your life, but you're not making changes in that direction to honor that wisdom and that guidance. What happens is that the universe does the change for you, and it's not always graceful, and it's not always in the way that we would imagine we would like that change to come about. So it sometimes comes by force rather than by flow. And so that has been an ongoing lesson for us over these weeks, is to become mindful, right, in navigating our ability to traverse the truth of our hearts, to listen to the wisdom that comes, and to have the courage, and really, not even the courage, yes, it's the courage, but to have the willpower to do something about it. If you feel that you have a divine guidance and a light to be here really for yourself, and maybe to extend that to the world, what are you doing about it? If you're on a mission, what are you doing to align yourself with that truth in your heart that is your divine inherent mission? So, and as well, we have exhaustion, which is another sort of a rerun from a couple weeks ago. And exhaustion speaks to spinning your wheels in the direction that is not in alignment with your truth, with your integral, divine, heartfelt goals, with the things that you know in your heart that are true to you and that will bring you joy, that will bring you divine alignment with the synchronicity of your own path, and bring you in attunement and alignment with those that share that vision and that want to help you, that are actually here to serve you and open doors for you so that you can bring to earth your version of heaven through living it. And yet exhaustion speaks to us spinning our wheels and spending time, expending energy in those directions that are not in alignment with our truth, right? So laziness and exhaustion, on one hand, this is a card of water and of emotions, laziness, and exhaustion is a card of fire. And together, if there's too much fire, you burn yourself out and you're going in the wrong direction. It could be with addictions, it could be with overworking, putting too much time and attention into some other project when you know your heartfelt project is in another place. And so that could be burning the candle at both ends, overextending yourself in directions that do not allow you to refill your own cup. So it's very important to refill your own cup. And laziness speaks to really not honoring the truth within us and not heeding to those signals that our body gives us, to the universe gives us, to all those divine friends, people, magical ways the universe speaks to us. And it's not heeding that and really just getting emotionally stuck, right? So, and that water, when there's too much water, that puts the natural fire out that we have to gain a momentum and to move forward with libido and with life force and to feel excited about life. So either way, if you feel that you have come this week to either point where you know it's time to get off the couch, it's time to get to work, or it's time to like slow down and not work so hard in directions that are not in alignment with your truth, this is the week to make the change. And it's really, really important that you do. because it feels that we are in a cycle here that you can be uplifted and taken to a different level of your truth. And really the top row is so, so very powerful. Where do I even begin? So we have the completion card here, which is a card, a major arcana card. And I love how this puzzle piece lays right over the third eye. In this completion card, there is, it's almost like the wheel of fortune, right? Where there's a click in your wheel of life, where there's cycles that are coming to an end so that new cycles can begin. And ultimately, what's being called, another major arcana card, very powerful, is the rebel within you. And if you look at this rebel, it's a masculine energy, yes, but it can still be female, obviously. But it's that masculine energy that is motion, that is movement, that is physical, that is active, that is the doing, that is not so much the being, but the doing. And it's the breaking through the chains of old limitations, blazing your torch of truth. And look at this massive, this eagle energy just on the shoulder, over and above the left shoulder of this rebel. And the eagle is freedom. And it's the ability to take flight where otherwise you felt very grounded in a way, not necessarily energetically grounded, but grounded where you can't take off, right? And the rebel's here to say, like, look, the only reason why you haven't been able to take off is because you've been too lazy, right? Or you've been burning yourself out, putting your energy in directions that are really not of service to the truth of your great joy and your great liberation here on this earth plane. So the rebel is here this week, and the rebel is saying, like, get on with it. You know exactly what you need to do, and you do. And even if it's one thing, it could be 10 things. It could be many different things that you feel guided, that you need to shift, you need to change. And it could just be a thought. It could be something in your diet. It could be a daily part of your lifestyle, habits, but it's like these little shifts that create huge changes down the line. And this week, it's time to really pay attention to that, because this card is speaking to that you know exactly what needs to be done. And really, this card also tells us that the chains are already broken. Stop telling yourself that it's too hard or that you can't do it. You already know. You've already made the vow, in a way. You've already made the promise of, like, or you've taken that awareness and said, okay, I'm aware and I know what needs to happen. So now you get to step up and be the rebel. And the rebel, the thing with the rebel is that the rebel does life in his or her own way and is not subject to the laws of time and space as we know them. Okay? So that means you learning how to master how you use your tongue and your mind to move through the labyrinth of the matrix in this universe, so that you, again, can bridge heaven on earth, so that you experience your version of peace, your version of joy. And from that, you are naturally being of service in the universe. It's so beautiful the way that works. But that's the big thing for so many of us that can be challenging. But that is the wheel of fortune coming into its full clicking of completion. And again, the third eye right next to completion. And this is such a powerful top row because we have 3 major arcana: completion, the rebel, and silence. And we got this recently, and look at the moon, right? We recently had a full moon, and look at this moon. It's in the third eye area of this face here on the card. And this is this is like, stop talking, stop trying to figure it out, stop trying to, like, use time and space as you know it in this world to make sense of the world. That's all going out the window with the rebel. It's time for you to learn who you are without the rules of gravity, to defy the rules of gravity, to defy those aspects and parts and places within you that have up until this week, up until this point of your life, said, no, I can't do it because of the pain of my past, because my mother did this to me, because my father did this to me, because my teacher told me I can't, or whatever it is. And it's time to be the rebel and to be like, I'm breaking through those old patterns so that I can complete with them and move forward and really know who I am as this powerful force in the world, in my world. So what happens is, as we practice, right, our meditations, I always say it, meditate, meditate, meditate. This is your lifeline to what is beyond time and space. Meditation is your means to plug into source, to plug into consciousness that is pure, that is whole, that is zero and at the same time one. And it comes through the experience of unity consciousness, of peace within. And it starts with you just learning to relax and not having to think, not having to figure everything out, but just being. And as you plug into source, you are given more energy than you would attain through trying to figure things out on an earth level. And I pray that makes sense. And it will, if you meditate more, it will. Because what's happening, this is so exciting, it's still on this upper row, is traveling. And we had this a while back. So you're still on your path, right? A while back, and I'll put another link up here in the corner, wherever it is, and to that to that weekly tarot that was a couple weeks back. This is the card of traveling, and if you look really close, there's this little dot on the road. See him right up here? Let's see if I can find him. He's right here. Okay? And he's on the road, and look at that path. It's going up, 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 up to source. Up, 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 up to the sun, to the source of all creation. It's a card of fire. It's a card of traveling. So whether that means mystical travel, with medicine, with shamanic journeying, with, taking the bus to a new city, with hitchhiking to a different state that you haven't been through before, or maybe you have been there before. But it's about movement, it's about momentum, and what is right next to it is the intensity card. And this is ever powerful. So if you look at this card, look at this being at the apex of this arrowhead, of this point, like they are taking off. And there's a point of light at the exactitude of the point of that triangle that is extending out. They are movement. They are moving forward. They are moving along time and space and defying it as their truth, as the rebel in this world. And what that speaks to, right next to traveling, is that as you get over laziness, and you relinquish putting too much energy in those channels and those people and those places that do not serve your truth, that is just like burning you out, and you get over the laziness and the, you know what you need to do. Before we were talking about addiction, it could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could just be like video games, porn, it could be just you knowing better that it's time to make a shift in your life in a certain direction, right? And as you do that, what actually happens is you disassemble those chains that once bound you, and you become your own rebel, which then activates a level of completion of old patterns. Because the time is now. The time is ready for that. And remember, meditate. Practice being still. Practice listening. Not just asking for what you want, but listening to what is your divine inheritance and being still and receptive as the divine feminine energy, whether you're male or female, that you be a proper vehicle and vessel to receive the nourishment, the divine guidance of that. And what happens then is that you synchronistically draw to you the people and places that will serve you along your path, along your journey. You're still on your mission. Your mission could be, I had a very long conversation with a dear friend last night about mission, because there's a point along the spiritual path where we realize that there is no mission, and it's just about being. There's no like saving the world. There's no saving anything, for that only perpetuates a polarized world. It perpetuates the grid matrix of duality, and you spin yourself ever further in thinking that this world is bad, or that there's something to fear and that you need to be safe from it. And I'm kind of going off in a different direction. But ultimately, even within that, right, knowing that, I know for me, my mission is to write books. Is to write books. That's it. And it's simple. And you know your mission, right? And it could just be to travel the world. It could be to be a beam of light. It could be to be a teacher. It could be to be a gardener. Simple, whatever it is, right? But allowing that to be what it is, not to save the world, not to change the world or to change others, but simply because you can. Your mission is what is your natural inheritance, the seeds of truth in your heart. And your work this week is to be the rebel, to go beyond your laziness, to go beyond overextending in directions that don't serve that truth in your heart. And what happens, again, the completion clicks in, and the intensity with which you begin to move forward in life, with which you are carried forward in life, begins to bump up as you travel along your version of your mission. So in other words, if my mission is to write books, as I get over the things that keep me lazy from that, or I move away from overextending myself in directions that aren't in alignment with what that truth is, what happens is as I start to become my own rebel and really serve that truth in my heart and move forward, all of a sudden doors start to open for me in the direction of that. People start to bump into me and say, hey, I can help you do that, or hey, why don't you try it like this? Can I help you do this? Where help comes in, service comes in, and there's a divine inheritance that's just waiting for you. It's waiting to serve you. But unless you show up, unless you break the chains of limitations, it can't find you. You don't have the right signature, the right frequency signature for it to be picked up, for that signal to be picked up, that you can receive the blessing that is inherently yours. Whew, okay, so that was huge. That was just the top row. Now, this is very interesting. This second row, there's a lot of clouds. And this can happen, right, as we move out of, moving out of laziness and moving out of stressful situations. We get used to being lazy, and we get used to being stressed, and that becomes a normal way of life. And it almost seems unfamiliar to be relaxed, to be in our truth, because it is so familiar to work for a company 9 to 5 and to work for someone else. And I'm really, that may be a broad example, but in the sense of, it might seem so foreign to listen to your heart and to serve yourself, to serve your truth, that it might short circuit you a little bit, and you might be visited by the tar body, which is ultimately the greatest politician you will ever meet in your whole life, and it's within you. It's the shadow self. The tar body is the shadow self. On my website, in the publications page, I have an article called Feed the Light Body, Starve the Tar Body, and you'll dig it, you'll get into it and have a greater understanding. But a card of the clouds, a card of the mind, we can fake ourselves out with being lazy. We can fake ourselves out with burning ourselves out and overextending ourselves in directions that don't serve. And it's politics, it's manipulation. We can manipulate ourselves. Our shadow and our tar body knows us best. And it can tell you things. It'd be like, oh, it's okay, you don't really have to get up. You don't really have to do that today. Go ahead and be distracted over there. It will do anything and everything that will serve you perpetuating a consciousness of self-sabotage, of lack, and of fear. And this week, it's time to see that, to see it, and to use the warrior aspect within you that is the rebel to override it, and to choose love, to choose self-love, in honoring the truth in your heart. So, with that, and the tar body is very shady and very shadowy, and in my book, The Reiki Apprentice, that's coming out this fall, which I so look forward to sharing with you, there's a big part of my story and of the teachings that I look forward to continuing to dispel, and to dispel, is that the right word? To share down the line. But ultimately, it's that voice in your head that's on self-destruction. This is you on your mission. Okay, we got cut off there. So, this is you on your mission, right? And this is your tar body trying to distract you from your mission. You're not good enough, you don't have enough time, you don't have enough money, you're not lovable, you're not worthy, whatever all the excuses are. And it leads us to compare ourselves to others. How many followers do you have on Facebook? Oh, you need to do it like how, Bob and Jane are doing it. When in fact, the truth in your heart is giving you all the divine guidance that you could ever need to receive your divine inheritance, which is really just to bridge heaven on earth and be the truth in your heart, here and now and every day, gracefully, with love and with joy. So Notice where you go to compare yourself to others this week, and just know that it's not the truth. The truth in your heart is the light body. Your light body is directly connected, has the GPS to God, to source, to pure consciousness that is always in attunement with love, with the highest love and light of the universe. And if the messages in your head are not loving and not kind, it is the tar body, it is the inner politician, it is the inner shadow artist. So just being mindful of that. And if you're not, if you begin to buy in to the script of self-hate, self-sabotage, self-doubt, self-limitation, schizophrenia sets in. This is where there's too many thoughts, you're spreading yourself too thin, and you're even at a place that's in the clouds of the mental constructs being blocked from the light. But also, look at this individual at the very top here. They're holding on to one side and holding on to the other with their fingertips and their toes. They're not centered. They're not in their full alignment. One foot over here, one foot over there. They're scattered. Meditate. Again, bring your power into its true alignment. And here we go. At the bottom of the deck, we have this beautiful ordinariness. And often if you feel ungrounded, go into nature. Take your shoes off, be barefoot, do your Tai Chi, hug a tree, just sit against a tree, read a book, just sit there, lay on the ground, receive the emanations of the divine cycles of this earth plane. It is so here for us, it is so here for you. And here we go, right next to that. This is a card of fire. So we have on one hand, grounding, and the earth card, ordinariness. Just be ordinary. Just be. Learn and remember how to be in nature and to be still and to be quiet. And from that, this lady, she's literally leaning and hugging on a tree. And from that, the experience of that gives you a fortification and nourishment of source energy that energizes and revitalizes you, but not in the way of burnout, not in the way of exhaustion, but of fortification and of fueling you. And that's very, very important this week. And what we have, the very, very bottom line of these cards, they're at three major arcanas: awareness, nothingness, and thunderbolt. Awareness, burning through the veils of who you were to who you're becoming. Again, that to me speaks to the rebel energy. Oh, that was not the rebel. To the rebel energy, right? Breaking through, being a light unto yourself. Nothingness, black, blank canvas. And it's not nothing, it's no-thingness. There's nothing there. And I know the card is a little old, so it looks like there's little white specks there, but it's really a blank canvas. And then thunderbolt. Here we go. We've been going through major cycles of kundalini, of life force energy awakening through that central channel. If you're doing yoga, if you're practicing meditation, keep doing it, because you are preparing the vessel. You're preparing the vessel. And ultimately, this and this, to move from exhaustion and laziness into the rebel, if you are not preparing the vessel through meditating, through grounding, through being in nature, through creating the correct conditions within yourself, the thunderbolt, when that burst of energy comes to lift you along your journey, to move your path with intensity as you travel through life, is it can come and maybe keep you up all night, which is very light. It can come and be a very mystical experience, Kundalini rising. And maybe I'll have to do like a whole video just on that. But ultimately, if we are not preparing the vessel, even just a little bit, it doesn't even take that much. It just takes your conscious awareness and your blessing, your honoring and acknowledging of the shifts that are happening, is that it feels like the tower. It feels like death, right? And ultimately it is a death. And because we did have completion at the beginning on the top row, which is another major arcana, and I was saying that's the Wheel of Fortune. That's like your life cycle clicking into one cycle completing and a new cycle ending. So be kind to yourself, be gentle on yourself, keep creating the correct conditions, keep creating it. And all this meditation, yoga, the practices, the pranayama, the scriptures, whatever it is, the Reiki, all these beautiful things that we do, it's not just a one-night stand. You don't just do it for a weekend. This is a lifestyle. This is the way that we can, it's not just about creating the correct conditions once to bridge heaven on earth, but it is the continual choosing of that consciously and allowing and integrating that purposefully, on purpose, into your life so that that becomes your reality. Peace on earth becomes your reality. Heaven on earth becomes your reality. Not knowing is very important. Again, coming back at the beginning of the reading, there was some confusion, and where there's confusion, we're trying to figure things out logically. Go meditate. Be in the place of not knowing, of no-thingness. Stop trying to figure it out. Stop trying to manipulate and force things into a certain way of being. Stop comparing yourself to others, your situation to others, how much money they have, how much money you have, how many followers you have, whatever the statistics are for you, because that's going to drive you crazy, right? Be aware as that voice, that inner shadow, that inner politician, the tar body, it knows you so well, and it knows your triggers, and it knows how to tell you when you should be triggered, when you should get angry, when you should be fearful, but that's all illusion. Remember, if it's not love and light, then it's not true. Love is the truth. Meditation will serve you in burning through the veils of illusion, that you come to that full awareness. When you are aware, each level of awareness you go through, as you attain greater levels of awareness, nothing can touch you. Nothing of this world can touch you. You're the rebel. You don't operate by the rules of gravity, by the rules of history, by the rules of time and space that we've been brainwashed, that we've been conditioned to think are the truth. And they work here. There's rules, there's laws that work here, but there's a greater law. And it's the law of truth in your heart, and that's what's calling you this week. Honor it. Do your best to honor it. And you will receive all the help, the nurturing, the guidance, and the divine support that you will require in this next phase of your life as you find completion and as completion finds you. But remember, help yourself, support yourself, right? The universe does have our back. At the same time, have your own back. If you don't have your own back, if you don't support yourself, if you don't get off the couch, if you don't start a new exercise program or give up the addiction or, practice being kinder to yourself or overextending yourself, you'll never know the gifts. Make time to be quiet, to be silent, to receive the divine downloads, to prepare the vessel, and it will be with greater ease that you can move through the intensity that is coming for you, that is you, inherently yours this week and to come. Thank you so very much for watching, for sharing, for commenting, for subscribing. Please follow me on Instagram. A couple times a week, I do little snippets of our tarot, of our weekly forecast, energy forecast. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm at Tuesday May Thomas, and you can get little highlights of this reading and every reading I do every week. Thank you so much again. Namaste.